Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So obviously you clicked on the video because I'm once again talking about the Rangers. For new viewers who haven't seen my channel, I just want you to know, if you haven't already, that I do post mainly just NHL content, and that'll be the case for the foreseeable future. Probably for quite some time. I might incorporate the MLB, but for right now I'm sticking with the NHL because that's one of the things I'm most passionate about. So expect pretty frequent videos from me, if not every other day, then every couple days. So especially with being a student and all, sometimes I get more caught up than I would like to. But obviously this video is about Chris Kreider, and the question is, where is he going to go? Because it seems evident that he will be traded by the NHL Trade Deadline this season, if not sooner. And there's a lot that's been going on with him. And the reason why I haven't talked about him in previous videos or really talked about much of individual players and trade rumors is I've talked about trade rumors as a whole, which teams I think are buying, selling, what guys are most likely to be moved. So if you haven't checked out those videos, please do after this video, of course. But in regards to Kreider, I've been waiting because I know that there's been a lot out, and I'm not the type to want to make all these videos about where he could possibly go, and he might not be moved at all. Just seems like a waste. I will definitely be jumping on the gun with making a video for as soon as a lot of these players are moved at the deadline, so I look forward to that. But Kreider's been a hot commodity. He is the most coveted winner currently in the market leading up to the trade deadline, and as of right now, from at least what TSN's Pierre LeBrun has put out, is that there are 8 teams that have Kreider on the top of their wish list for the deadline, and teams that I know of, at least, and I'm going to be talking about 2 in particular, but overall I know about the Pittsburgh Penguins have showed interest, the Boston Bruins have showed interest, I believe the Calgary Flames have showed interest, the Colorado Avalanche have shown interest, and the St. Louis Blues. Now, there could obviously be more or less teams. I don't know, so we'll see what happens. But let's talk about Kreider. Why is he such a hot commodity? Well, if you look at the market, there really isn't any winner close to him leading up to this deadline, which is going to cause a big thing to happen in regards to him with the Rangers. And does it seem like he's going to be moved? Yes. Do I see him resigning? No. The reason being is that Kreider, 28 years old now, I believe, he's at the last year of his contract with a cap hit of $4.625 million, and this is most likely going to be his last big contract of his career. I'm assuming that he's looking for somewhere in the 6 to 7 year range, upwards of 7-8 mil a season, because that's the going rate for a guy like him. But the Rangers can't afford that, and they're not willing to commit to a guy that is only, in my opinion, has a couple years left in his prime. I love Kreider. I've always been a diehard fan of his, being a Rangers fan ever since he came up in the league years ago against the, I believe if not the Ottawa Senators, then the Washington Capitals in the playoffs. And I've loved him ever since. I know that there's been controversial things that have happened with him, with running over goaltenders and things of that nature. Not going to get into all that, but overall, Kreider, I've always been a huge fan of his. I don't want to see him go, but the reality is that same with Matt Zuccarello, who I loved more than anything, Kevin Hayes, who I was a big fan of, Ryan McDonough, all these guys. Regardless of how we feel as fans, it's not going to dictate the future of the team and what management is going to do. So, Kreider will be moved. Of the 8 teams I said, it seems most likely that would be one of them. But what's been happening with Kreider this season? So in 50 games played, he has 18 goals, 17 assists for 35 points. His career high is 53 points in the 16-17 season, and he had a career high in goals and assists that he did match with goals last year, but overall, I'm going to focus on the 16-17 season. He had 28 goals that year and 25 assists. But what's another thing with Kreider? Well, recently, if you've been paying attention at all, he did get hurt, actually, being kneed in the head by Mika Zibanejad, trying to jump over him a couple games ago. And he left the game, went through concussion protocol and everything. David Quinn, the head coach, said that there is no concussion, but he did not play last night in the Rangers game, and it seems like he will very well play their next game, which is tomorrow against the Toronto Maple Leafs. So that is very interesting. I was really surprised to see that he does not have a concussion, but I'm obviously happy about that, because if he's out long-term at all, that could really dictate his value and if he gets moved at all. But Kreider, overall, a very reliable reliable winger. He has the most tip-in goals in the NHL within the past 5 seasons, so I thought that was really interesting too. And overall, he's just a fantastic player. I love him personally. I understand people that dislike him. But overall, let's talk about the teams interested. Now, I'm going to focus on two teams in particular that seem to be the front runners currently for Kreider, and that is the St. Louis Blues and the Colorado Avalanche. Now, there's a lot of things that are interesting about that. There's obviously been rumors between those two teams in connection with Kreider for quite some time now, but the fact that they're divisional rivals, both being in the Central Division, you have the St. Louis Blues currently at first in the Central with, I believe, 70 points, and the Avalanche third with 62. Avalanche have the cap space, and St. Louis can make it work too. Just a matter of who's going to give in. And is this going to cause a problem for maybe one team to really give too much for Kreider, given the fact of them worrying about the opposing team and the division game them, and him possibly being a key contributor in their success come playoff time? These are things to consider. So I don't know. That could very well change the value that goes for Kreider, but it seems imminent that any return for him, unless it's a package deal with other players involved from the Rangers, that it would be at least a first-round pick and a NHL-ready player or prospect. So in regards to the Avalanche, from what I've read, the rumor has been that the going rate for him would be a first-round pick or Martin Kaut. Could be saying his name wrong. Kaut, whatever. Kaut was, Kaut, however you want to say it, the 20-year-old Czech forward was drafted 16th overall in 2018, and he's a right winger. And in the AHL this season, he has 4 goals and 9 assists for 13 points in 27 games. I remember watching him in juniors and leading up to his draft year, and I really liked his game. Always been a fan of his, especially. But from what I've read from one of the writers for the Avalanche is that it seems like it would be too steep of a price to go with Kaut and a first. It would be one or the other, because the Avalanche obviously think highly of him, and I don't think that they would be willing to give up Kaut without at least Kreider guaranteeing a contract extension or something of that nature. But another prospect I have listed, just because they're right next to each other in rankings from what I've seen for the Avalanche prospects list, and that's Shane Bowers. The 20-year-old centerman was drafted in the 28th overall in the 2017 draft by the Ottawa Senators. I believe he was part of the Matt Duchene deal a couple years ago. And his AHL stats this year are very solid. He has 8 goals, 12 assists for 20 points in 34 games. So Bowers is another one to consider. It seems like if it would be a first and a prospect, then Bowers could be a lot more likely. But if it's just one or the other, then it seems like it would just be Kaut. That's at least the vibe I'm getting from what I've been reading, what I've been hearing rumors-wise from the Avalanche side of things. But now let's talk about the St. Louis Blues. So the rumor with them has been the same thing, a first-round pick and prospect or prospects. Robert Thomas is obviously off the table. I'm a huge fan of his, but he's not going anywhere. The Blues view him as a top line or top 6 centerman for years to come. But what I did find very interesting that I've read, I believe it was LeBron or someone else that put this out, that Jordan Kyrou could very well be packaged with a first-round pick, which is insane because Jordan himself, in my opinion, is plenty for especially a rental like Kreider, if say there is no contract extension guaranteed, because Kyrou has been coveted as, if not the best, and one of the best Blues prospects since they drafted him. He is a 21-year-old forward, right winger, drafted 35th overall in 2016. His AHL stats this season, he has 9 goals, 6 assists for 15 points in 16 games. And his NHL stats this season is 2 goals, 2 assists for 4 points in 15 games. So he's currently at the level of trying to be a consistent, everyday NHLer in his young career. From everything that I've read and watched about him, he is an explosive skater, great hockey IQ, unbelievably skilled. Now it's just a matter of putting that all together at the NHL level. He will obviously do it, and that he, in my opinion, would be a perfect fit for the Rangers, who are still a rebuilding, retooling team. Another young forward that is basically NHL ready, because he's proven it at every other level, would fit perfectly. So I know a lot of Blues fans are against that, with not just him, but him packaged with a first rounder, but that's just from the reports I've been reading, so I'm not saying that it will come to fruition, but it is definitely out there. And another prospect that I had for the Blues is Clint Austin, the young Russian centerman. I remember watching him. He's a very solid prospect too. The 20-year-old was drafted 31st overall in the 2017 draft. His AHL stats this year, he has 9 goals, 11 assists for 20 points in 33 games. And his NHL stats this season, he has 1 goal in 4 games. So, Costin could be a situation where, say, the Blues really don't want to get rid of Kreider, similar to the Avalanche with Cott, because I would be kind of surprised if the Rangers traded away Kreider for just one prospect and not a pick involved. So if, say, that is the case with the Blues where they're not willing to package a first-round pick or even a conditional first-round pick with Kreider, or just don't want to get rid of him in general, aren't willing, then I could see Costin possibly come in as the filler for the Plan B option. But I wanted to put that out there a lot because there's been all these rumors in regards to Chris Kreider. Where will he land? It seems obvious that it will be the Blues or the Avalanche, but that doesn't mean that other teams I talked about and maybe aren't even being talked about are in the running. A lot can happen. There's still plenty of time till the deadline, but now we're getting to the point where any second now it seems that a trade could come to fruition, and it is guaranteed that Kreider will most likely be moved. It's just a matter of when and where, but it seems like we all have an understanding, at least somewhat of a grasp of the return that the Rangers should expect for him. And like I said, it could vary if he is in a package deal or if his value increases more and more, given the fact that he is the most coveted winger on the market come the trade deadline. So thank you all so much for watching. If you liked the video, please like, subscribe, all that great stuff if you like this content. Let me know if you're a Rangers fan, even if you're not, you're a fan of one of the teams I was talking about. Let me know what you think. Where do you think Kreider's going to land? Do you agree with the possible returns that I have in mind for him? Do you disagree? All that great things. Please give me feedback. I really appreciate it. But once again, thank you all so much, guys, and I will be back in a couple days.